what's your iPad doing? Just for
Question.
so it's not like connected to the cameras and that.
No.
That would be cool.
Ready?
Yeah.
Hi guys, it's a huge privilege for me to have our first guest of our first episode, Keegan Longueira, on the show. And okay, Keegan, so we're going to start off with as much questions in 60 seconds as we can. And are you ready?
Yeah, I hope so. Let's go.
Okay, here we go. Favorite food?
Pasta.
Favorite drink?
Coffee.
Favorite country?
Italy.
Favorite car?
Polo. Definitely a polo.
Favorite music?
Linkin Park.
Favorite Bible story?
Moses.
Favorite chocolate?
Oh, I don't do chocolate.
You have to choose one.
I don't know any. Canderel chocolate?
Yeah. Favorite movie?
Braveheart.
Favorite color?
Red.
Favorite animal?
Lion.
Burger or sushi?
Sushi.
Hot or cold?
Hot.
Bushveld or ocean?
Ocean. Bushveld.
Couch or bed?
Couch.
Hat or no hat?
No hat.
Shirt or no shirt?
Shirt.
Yeah, go awesome. So, Keegan, as you know, this series is all about what do we do in our lives to worship God? Why do we exist? And why are we on this earth? And I would like to ask you just to tell us more a bit about yourself and where you come from, your background, and who you are.
Yeah. Well, I'm from Woodbank. I moved here when I was 6 years old, so I've been in that town for a long time. Went to university a couple of times, and I'm sure everybody knows the story of me dropping out plenty of times. But I think the last time I dropped out of university was the moment I decided I really wanted to do something more with my life.
Okay.
And at that stage in my life, I just wasn't ready for university. So I bought the second-hand bicycle. At the end of the year, finished all my exams. 1 year of university was enough for me. And I got on my bicycle and I cycled from Woodbank to Cape Town.
Yes,
No plan, hardly any money. A lot of people didn't even know where I was. And it just proved to be such an important trip in my life, just to know that what we're capable of. And I think I really met God on that trip.
Yes, that's amazing.
So, and since then, the bicycle has been a really special tool for me to be with God. To inspire people to push themselves to the limits and do great things. And in the end of the day, I believe we can do great things if we go for it. So I've used the bicycle. Other people use different things.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, because on that, because you get different ways of worship in life, and I think like you get worship leaders in church, and you get guys working on mines or whatever. And like we know, like worship is a lifestyle. So you'd say that doing these trips, going into the rural areas of Africa, and we're going to talk about the Cairo to Cape Town in just a couple of minutes, but would you say that's the way that you feel that you bring worship to our Abba Father, to our God?
I would say definitely. We can so easily look at worship in other people's lives and rate it. This is good worship, this is not
So
good
true,
worship, and just say, okay, well, that guy's doing better than me in worship, and I'm not doing well in worship. And I think before I ever got on a bicycle, I was probably like that, stand in church and be like, wow, that guy knows God. I want to get there, and until I got to a point where I was like, this is me, this is my heart, this is what God has created in me. And the way I could get on a bicycle and spend days and days quiet, alone, speaking to God. And I think my form of worship is like just doing what I do. I think worship is a very personal thing. So if your motive isn't pure in that worship, I don't think it's worship. So anything
true.
where you get down to just giving what you have, everything you have, and giving it over to God, and just being quiet and listening. So I would say being on the bicycle is one of the biggest ways I worship.
No, that's awesome, because I think in many ways people think like God is only involved in certain areas of our lives, And I think it's such a lie. And I think in a way, it's like God says in the Word that He's present. Like He never leaves us nor forsakes us. And so tell us a bit about being on the bike and how have you experienced God in some of those moments. Let's say driving all the way from Cairo to Cape Town, which I believe was an amazing trip for you. And also I think explain to us what was the trip about, and what was your main mission?
Well, before I left, just thinking back, the fear was unbelievable. Here you are, going on that same second-hand bicycle, flying to Cairo. You have no idea what to expect. You're going to cycle the length of Africa, 10,500 kilometers. I was terrified. And I think for me, that's where the journey started. You know, being able to step out and say, I feel that this is what I've been called to do, and I'm going to go for it. The idea was to break a Guinness World Record. When I landed in Cairo and cycled the first 2 or 3 days, I thought to myself, there's no way. There's absolutely no way that I can do this through my own strength and achieve this record. So, you know, for me, God did a lot for me on that trip. First of all, financially providing for me. I got to the Egyptian border, just about to cross into Sudan. Have no idea what Sudan is like. It's the least visited country in the world. And at the border, I remember waking up and I think it was 70 rand in my bank account.
Absolutely nothing.
Yeah, 70 rand. I didn't even know how I was going to make it. And I remember the last words I spoke, and I actually sent it to somebody and they put it on Facebook, was, don't worry, I believe in miracles. And after that, it's just like the floodgates opened, and there was just, I didn't look at my bank account again. I just trusted. I used my card. And I think when you walk into that territory where God wants you to be, you'll always be provided for.
Yeah, it's true. Step in faith.
Yes, definitely. And sometimes not even necessarily in the ways you think or you want.
His ways are not our ways.
Exactly. And financially I was provided for, but spiritually what happened in my heart on that trip was way more than the financial, than the physical healing, than the safety. Just to be in a place, for example, cycling in the desert, and I used to have worship every 9 o'clock in the morning. The sun's risen, and there you are, just alone cycling. You can just hear your gears. There's no sound, and that was my time where I started praying for people. The strangest feeling when I was at peace. I started to think about people, and that led to me singing loud in the desert, and that led to just hearing from God. And often when I was stressed, I said, God, what do you want me to do today? What do you want me to do next? What do you want me to achieve? What do you want me to do with my life? You know, we have all these questions, and we want to figure out life in this moment. And all that I felt God was saying in my heart was, I love you. And I was like, no, come on, God, you got to give me more than that. Come on, you know. And when that became real to me, it's like, I love you. You can't mess up this plan.
Yeah, it's amazing. Nothing, it's like in Romans where God says nothing can come between the love that He has for you. It doesn't matter what you do, where you are, your past. That's amazing. So because I believe you were in some countries driving down that were quite dangerous countries, and what did you experience during those times, and how God really protected you and comforted you in times when you felt alone, and where you were battling and where people were chasing you, I believe, throwing you with rocks and stones and stuff. How did that go?
You know, I'm not going to pretend to be all holy. You know, in moments like that, you can really, become very stressed. And remember the first real encounter was along the Nile River when 2 guys on a motorbike held me at knife point trying to take all my money. And I remember the moment before they pulled the knife, I was very angry, and sort of felt like I had this right. I was right, they were wrong. I had a right to protect myself. And then moments when the knife is on your neck and they're asking for your money, you all of a sudden realize that you don't deserve anything. That to be alive is a blessing. And it changed me. It made me a lot more humble to realize that I'm in their country and I'm I'm a servant. What Jesus went through on the cross is way more than I'll ever experience. And I often just used to think of that when I was suffering and I thought things were going hard for me. Just used to think back to that crucifixion story. And I was held at by AK-47 soldiers waking me up in my tent, asking me for my passport. 2, 3 in the morning, and you wake up, you don't even know where you are, and now you got to find your passport. You're looking down the barrel of a gun, and in those moments you freeze, and
I can just
you're just shaking. You have no idea what you're thinking, and all those moments of faith and stepping out, and what you've built your life on, the years and years of that, it kicks in. It's like God just takes over the situation. He puts the words in your mouth. He makes you calm. He just leads you literally every single step, because you're not there. You're not there. You just freeze. And in Ethiopia, kids running after me with knives, and you look at these rusted blades, and you imagine being stabbed by one of those, and your mind starts racing.
Infection, wounds.
And these guys, they want you. They want to stab you. So I think in moments like that, I wasn't present at all. And afterwards, you're just so thankful. You break down, you really do. Whether it's crying or it's just stopping and sitting down on the side of the road and being thankful for life.
Yeah, that's amazing. And I think your eyes really open. You see what those people have, and that they really don't have a lot. Dirty conditions, like no power, no electricity there. And so I can just imagine that. Seeing that, you immediately feel grateful again, thinking back home what you've got, where you come from, and that's so amazing. And the question I feel like asking is why? Why are you doing this? Why putting your life in danger, driving all the way from Cairo to Cape Town, going through all these stuff, leaving, being away from home for like 50 odd days? And why would you do this? What's the mission behind all this?
I think there's various reasons I do it. If I just want to speak from all the points. I mean, charities is something that's really close to my heart, and helping people that are really like underprivileged. And it was Operation Smile, Cleft Lip and Pallets. Was now found like setting up my own charity to do mission work into Africa, and just really...
What's it called? The lost continent, Forgotten continent, That's awesome.
So the mission there is just to give back and use your talents to serve people and just love people. I think so often we want to give things, and the last thing we give is ourselves. And I think if we give ourselves first, then everything else makes it
so true.
better.
So true.
And so that's some of the reasons. The others is just pushing myself to the limit. I love pushing myself to the limit. I love seeing what is capable, because I think the human body is incredible, and we don't realize what we can do.
So true.
And to just harness that and go on a mission and say, look, I'm going to be uncomfortable. It's going to be difficult, but I believe that there's amazing things we can do in this world. And I hope that inspires people. I hope that inspires people in their lives to step out and push themselves in their areas, whether it's a doctor, or whether it's just like musicians, to step out and say anything is possible.
Yes.
We can't limit ourselves, and we can't say what God can do through us. God will tell us what He can do through us, and we can limit that. We can say no, well, it's not possible to break a world record, but cycle around the block, that'll be fun. For me, it's like God wants to do what He wants to do, and just run with it.
It's so true, and I think it's this journey of it's like God says in the Word that if you're faithful to the little, He will appoint you over bigger things. And I think it's like you say, there's so many things that hinder us in life from just taking those steps, like fear of man, or fear itself, or lack of faith, and maybe disappointment, relying on people or whatever, and they disappoint you, and you get hurt, and I think you would know better. I think it's a journeying with letting go of fear, and journeying of stepping out in faith in the little, and then you need, like, for example, funds, and then you step out in a bigger type of faith and you say, God, look, I can't do this without you. And I think it's just amazing the patience that God has with us, in a way that he won't necessarily always give everything to us immediately. It's like you said, his time's not our time. And I think through that we learn to respect him, and I think through that we learn to have faith in him, and just relying and just trusting, no matter what. So that's really awesome.
Yeah, it's been an incredible journey, as you say, starting from places you could never imagine. I was watching a video, one of my first videos I made the other day, and at that point I had no idea I would cycle across Africa, let alone break a world record. But I just took the steps daily. God led me in what I felt I was called to do. And sometimes we don't need to see the bigger picture, because if we did, we'd freeze. And I find that the more we know and the further we get in our walk, the more we think that it's impossible. Because we've seen more failures as well as success.
Yeah, true.
And I think if we can look at the success and forget about the bad experiences and the negative things that have happened, renew your mind daily.
Yes.
And say it is possible.
Yes,
because you are closer in the physical. Possible. So
that's amazing. So, what's next? What is next on the agenda? What you planning in the near future? What can people look out for?
Yeah, sure. 10 days time I fly to Morocco.
Okay, awesome.
Casablanca.
Sure.
So it's part of Africa. The whole trip was, I wanted to try and link Africa with Europe, and the idea of my charity, and try to get some funding in Europe. So the idea is cycle from Morocco, Casablanca, all the way to the top of Norway.
Okay.
So it's also about 10,000 Ks.
Sure.
Yeah, going to be a huge trip, new sort of challenges.
Okay.
And so 10 days time I'll be in Morocco.
That's amazing. So with this trip, it's also like a case of just having a tent, or seeing where you can pop in to sleep at night, or how's the conditions going to be? Is there a couple of things arranged already for accommodation wise, or is it like just getting off the plane, getting on your bike and starting?
Yeah, well, it depends who's listening to this interview.
Okay.
So if my mother's listening, then everything's planned. But to be dead honest, there's nothing planned.
Okay.
I've got a friend in Morocco who said I could stay there a couple of nights, and I suppose when he kicks me out, then it's
time
on the road,
it's
and myself and my bicycle, and off I go.
Awesome, man. Yes, Keegan, thank you for spending time with us today, and just really sharing just a short bit of your story and what you're busy with. And I think for a lot of people out there, you're such an encouragement and such an inspiration to a lot of people. And I think what God is doing in your life, just awakening dreams in people's hearts, and just making people realize to let go of the fears in life, and just to live life to the fullest. And it's like you say, to stretch yourself to the extreme. And I think during that, just knowing that God is with you all the time. And so thank you for just coming out and just sharing a bit of your story. And I want to ask you for the people out there, where can they get hold of you if they feel they want to invest into what you're busy with financially, or prayer, or whatever? How can they contact Keegan?
Okay, well, we've got big plans in terms of books and podcasting and a lot of social media work that we want to do, and just get the story out there. So if people want to follow, I mean, Facebook is
awesome.
Everybody's on, Keegan Longueira on Facebook. And then also my website is www.keegan.co.za, and I'm on Twitter and Instagram. My email address is keegan@capetrek.com.
Okay.
So people can, more than welcome to get involved.
Great stuff. Thank you once again for being on the show, and looking forward to see you again. All the best of luck with your trip, and I just know that God is going to be with you, and we just proclaim favor over you, and wherever you go, may God just open doors for you. And when you drive past people or just get in touch with people, may they really see the light that's inside of you, the glory of God that you're carrying. And so we're right behind you, so thank you so much.
Yeah, awesome. Thank you so much for having me.
Cool, man.